Hi Susan, can you hear me? Hi Rachel, can you hear me? Hi Donna. My back is still not good, but better than it was, thank you Donna. Susan's saying you can hear me, brilliant. Okay, so I'll just wait for a few more people to jump on. So what's everybody been up to? How are you all doing? Rachel's saying you can hear me loud and clear. Great. Okay, that's good. That's something. And like a little bit out of practice. It's funny when you miss a week or so, you get all disorientated and you get out of practice. I forgot to bring a drink with me, but not to worry. I want to try and keep this to an hour if I can, because I am still struggling to stand, and I stand to craft now since I moved my craft room round again. Putting small gems on picture frames, Rachel's saying. Oh, that sounds good. What is that for presents, or do you sell them, Rachel? Oh goodness, don't do this long if it hurts too much. It's fine, I won't be able to do it for too long. Hi Thea, hope you're okay. Oh, now I can see loads of comments coming up on my phone now on my iPad. So let me see what you're all saying. Hi Ashley, I know it's late, but Happy New Year to you and everybody. Barbara, you find we're doing this jewellery service for the last 2 weeks. I literally have lost 2 weeks as well of my life, so I know exactly what you mean. I feel as though I've not said Happy New Year to anybody, probably apart from maybe you guys on here. I literally no sooner seemed to get through New Year, and then I was having to prepare myself for jewellery service. It's fine, doesn't matter. I'll sort myself out with a drink, don't worry. Hi Marcy, I hope you're okay. Just over COVID. Oh no. Was jazzing up a plain frame. Oh, okay. Yeah, good plan. So to be perfectly honest, as I say, we're doing this jewellery service for the last 2 weeks, and with my back being bad again, and then Eddie's poorly. I've not really got anything specific to do, but I was mindful that I've not done anything with the ScanNCut machine for ages. So I want to make some tags just to put into some thank you packages. So what I thought I'd do is maybe have a look at the machine and see what kind of tag shape design there is in the machine, and if there isn't anything, we'll have to make something. And then I've got this stamp set called Free as a Bird. I'm not sure how well you're going to see it. There might be a bit of a glare. Let me see if I can move the light a little bit. There you go. So Free as a Bird. And I've not used this set for ages, and I quite like this little bird. So I was thinking maybe of stamping this bird. I've got some scrap paper just here on my right hand side. And maybe just doing some direct cutting. It's ages since I've used this Free of a Bird, so I honestly can't remember how it scans and cuts. Whether it cuts perfectly well, or whether it needs, any lines or anything joining up. So can have a look at that. So I was thinking I might do some stamping and some direct cutting. I've also, literally when I've just come in here, gone into my Blushing Bride pack, and I've got 2 scraps that have been embossed at some time. Now I might have to move my light back, bear with me a minute. Not sure how well you're going to see this. Can you see that this is embossed? So I've got these two scraps. So I was thinking I might try and incorporate them into the tag somehow. And then because in about, I don't know what date we're on now, 23rd. So in a couple of weeks it's Valentine's Day. So I was thinking maybe I've got this lovely new pink glimmer card that I did use some of it in the calendar kit that I sold recently, and it cuts quite nice. So I was thinking maybe to cut some small hearts to go with this little bird. And I've also got like a combination of mirror board here in various colours. So that's kind of about as far as I've got really. So, you know, a bit of direct cutting, a bit of cutting with shapes just from the machine, and see what I can come up with. So Marcia's just over COVID. You're jazzing up your plain frame. Barbara says, hi Ashley and all, been doing some stamping lately. And Maria's saying, hope you're feeling better. Yeah, funnily enough, just only today, better than I have been. Still got pain in my leg. This time it's my right leg that's the bad leg. Last time, if you remember, although it was kind of in both legs, it was my left, well, you may not remember, but it was my left leg that was bad last time. This time the pain in my back was in exactly the same place, but it's caused me to have problems with my right leg, which is just weird. And the top half of my leg is in pain, and from about halfway down my leg and past my knee is numb. So it's mad. It's just mad when you get problems with your back, what kind of effect it has on you. So let's start with some stamping. So I've got some scraps of white here. And these literally have just been pulled out of my white paper pack. So I don't know, you know, as I say, I can't remember. It's a long time since I've stamped and cut this, so I can't remember how it stamps and cuts. So we'll see. So I don't know how many of these scrap paper I'm going to use, but then I've got another piece of A4 white card here. So anybody that uses Stampin' Up, this A4 is thick, and the scraps I've got are the basic A4, which I'm going to stamp on. Then I've got Blushing Bride, which, as I say, were two scraps that were in my folder that I've obviously gone to use at some point that I've already embossed. And this is the, I did look just before I came live. I can't remember, hang on. It's the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. So this is still a current folder. I don't know if anybody else does that. If you ever do like any die cutting or embossing and you don't use it, I put it in with the scraps, and I keep my scraps with my card. So like this is my Blushing Bride pocket that I keep my card in, and I keep so many pieces in here, and then if I've got more, I leave them in their original packaging and store them behind and tuck them in the dividers in my IKEA thing. So you can see here I've cut, I can't remember, was that Boho Indigo or something that was called, wasn't it? So I keep my scraps in with here. So that's what I've just pulled out. So let's have a look at this bird. I need some ink, that would be a good idea. And I may do some colouring with Stampin' Blend, so I'm going to ink the stamp up with the Memento Tuxedo Black. Let's see what everyone's saying. I had it in my right leg as well, Ashley. It was terrible. Isn't it weird how it affects you? I mean, last year when I was out of action for, what was it, about 8-10 weeks, the pain stemmed from my lower back on my right side, and although I had pain in both legs last time, the left leg was the worst leg. This time, it's still a pain in my lower back on my right side, but it's affecting my right leg. And this all started because I went on a lengthy walk with Hannah and Eddie. We went up we went up walking up Kinder Scout about 2.5 weeks ago, just before jury service. And when I got home that day, I said to Hannah, my back's aching, I need to just rest it. And then I was meant to start the jury service on the Monday, and they postponed it until the Tuesday. But all that weekend before, the Saturday and Sunday, I literally couldn't walk. So I was thinking to myself, well, I was glad in a way the Monday got postponed, but I was still thinking, how am I going to get through 2 weeks? And they were really good. I took my painkillers and I took a hot water bottle because I drove in every day, which was like an hour and a half there and an hour and a half back. And they were really good. I couldn't take my water bottle actually into the courtroom, but they filled it up every morning for me when I got there, so I could use it before we went in. And then when we had breaks, they filled it up. They were really good. They really looked after me. And then they filled it up at the end of the night so I could use it for my hour and a half journey home. So, and then once it was all over, on Thursday night. We could have gone back in on Friday for sentencing, but we said we didn't want to. And of course, Eddie's been in daycare because Hannah's been working. She's had him a couple of the days over the 2 week period. And then he's picked up this sickness and diarrhea bug that's going around with dogs at the moment. So he started being ill on Thursday night. So I was thinking I'd got Friday and he was going to be in daycare and I'd be able to catch up. And I spent all day cleaning up after him. So it seems to be one thing after another at the moment. Right, I'm going to stamp this bird. Let's crack on. I'll try and keep up with any comments or anything. So I'm sorry that this might not be sparkling stuff for everybody, but I thought I do want to make some tags to put into some thank you packages, and I've not made them, and I just kind of thought of an idea last night, and I thought, I know I've not used this stamp set for ages, we'll try this and see what we get. So I understand if you don't want to hang around, but if you do, then it's lovely to be here and to chat to you. So I'm going to stamp my little bird, and I'm going to stamp it a couple of times, a bit apart, and just see what we get. And I'm sorry if I'm sniffing, but all of a sudden now I've come in here and I've started sniffing, so goodness sake. Right, let's see if we can get 4 on here, and let's see how this is going to react. And the only reason I'm a bit hesitant about how it's going to cut is just this, the bit here at the bottom, you know, like where it's kind of like grounding for the bird to stand on. So let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. See if you can see what I'm talking about. And you see it there. It's like he's grounded. I'm not sure how that will do on the printing and cutting. So I need to get a mat. So let me just grab a mat off my wall here. Hi Linda from New York. Sorry for the rustling. So what we're saying, got a moon boot on my broken ankle leg now, just a few steps more each day. Oh no. That's Barbara. It's rubbish, isn't it? We're just all falling apart, aren't we? Was it the 2 Alisons have had problems? Barbara, you've got your broken ankle / leg. I've got my dodgy back. Right, so that was me just tearing the plastic cover off my mat. So I'm going to flick cameras, wake my ScanNCut machine up because it's gone to sleep because I switched it on when I came in here. I'm going to load this mat. I'm just going to move. Just bear with me 1 minute. There you go. So let's put our little birds on this mat. I'm going to try and tip you down, so just hang on a second. In fact, no, I won't tip you down yet because we need to see the screen. See, I am out of practice. Let me move all my bits and pieces. Hi Leslie, hope you're okay. Don't worry, I've just been chatting really about me rubbish back and how Eddie's not well and one thing and another. Brigitte, is it? Sorry if I butcher your name, I'm rubbish. Says, hi all, finally actually seeing her live in real life. Hi from Austria. Oh, well, welcome. Thank you for being here. So, we're going to go to Scan and Direct Cut because I've obviously stamped the images already. It's asking me to select where I want to save the scanned image temporarily. So we'll say the machine and we'll say start. Just let me move my little thing that's behind my machine. Did it get caught up on something then? I wasn't looking. So I can see my 4 little birds there. So for anybody that might be new to the ScanNCut, let's see what we're saying. Hi Lynn. Sorry I'm late, just finished our roast. Oh, that sounds... I could just eat a roast. Lovely to have a chatty session. Just burnt the roast beef. Oh no, maybe you should get some from Lynn, Barbara. Hi Jenny from the Netherlands. Wow. Wonderful, you pronounced my name absolutely correctly. Oh, well, that was just more luck. But thank you. So, as I was just saying, for anybody that might be new, let's see if I can zoom in a bit, get you a bit closer to this screen. Okay, so we've got the 4 little birds that I've just stamped. I'm going to drag in the red handles and just isolate the area, and this just kind of helps the ScanNCut to know or to concentrate more, I think, on, you know, what you're asking it to scan. Because sometimes, you know, like I'm using a cutting mat here, because I'm doing direct cut, and sometimes it can, if you leave the red bounding box over the full kind of 12 by 12 area, you it will pick up like cut marks on your mat and things like that, and you don't want that. So it's best to always try and hone in on the area that you want to try and, you know, tell the machine to cut. Hi Alison. Your YouTube reminder only just came on. Oh right, okay. Well, literally I didn't do, I usually try and kind of like set everything up before I go live and, you know, post a description and a title and all that, but literally I've just plugged everything in because I've just been out in the last hour with Hannah, so I've literally not had time to, like, you know, put any information in other than the title, and I literally just pressed go live. So I'm still taking the painkillers, Alison. What about you? But it is, I was just saying, it has gone a little bit better today, but I don't want to be stood for too long because I stand to craft now, and it, you know, that doesn't necessarily always help. Right, so I can see the little birds now. I've isolated them. I'm going to say okay and wait for the machine to recognise and see what it's going to pick up. So, not sure how well you'll see this if I try and zoom in a bit more. Can you see it does appear to be picking them up. So there's no other bits by the look of it that I need to get rid of. So I'm going to say okay. It seems to have just picked up the outline. I'm going to go to the offset icon, which looks like 2 circles with arrows facing, you know, like inwards. And I'm going to add a 0.04 offset. That's just my preference. I like to have a little bit of a white area around it. If you don't like that look, if you want to cut directly on the stamp line, then don't, you know, just don't do that bit. So I'm going to say OK. OK, and see what we've got. Now I'm not sure on this bottom one if there's something, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to use the arrows just to toggle through these birds and see if there's something down here that's an extra little bit that I can maybe get rid of, because if it is, you might not be able to see it, but it looks a little bit darker at the bottom, and if that's something, it might be something that it wants to cut that maybe I don't want it to, or it might just be that I'm going to have to let it cut it. So I'm going to use the arrow. See, you can see, not sure how well you'll see it, but I've hit that arrow and it was on that bird. It should jump to the next one really, but it's highlighting something red, so I'm going to hit delete, and it's deleted whatever it was picking up there. This one looks as though it's okay. I'm going to hit, see, it's again, there's something there. It's something that's in the stamped image. Remember me saying it's like my little bird is on like grounding. It's picking that up, so I'm going to hit delete. Now, if I'd have noticed that before, I could have used the ignore object size and set it to about 1/4 of an inch, and it would automatically ignore all these bits. But rather than rescan it and do that, I might as well, I've only got 4 little birds on here, so I'm going to just delete each little red bit I can see that it's highlighting, and we'll say OK. So I think now if I hit the arrows, I've just got a square around each bird now, which means there's nothing else there that the machine is seeing. Sorry if my hand's in the way. So I'm going to say OK, come back to the offset, make sure I've still got my 0.04, and I'm going to say OK, and select and cut, and then let's see what we get when we press start. So see if I can point you down a bit and see if I can zoom you back out a bit, just so you can see a little bit better what's happening. I'm down to 2 painkillers a day now. Brilliant. Physio really tough. My knee keeps stiffening up. Much better though. That's good though, isn't it? I think that was how I felt last year when I was struggling, when you know that your painkillers are starting to reduce each day, or you can go a lot longer in the day without having to take them. It's kind of always a good sign, isn't it? Right, so that looks as though it's cut okay. So I'm just going to make a little bit of room on my desk, and we'll look at this first. So I'm going to flip you back to my desk. I'm going to say OK on the machine and unload my mat. Try and find my spatula, which I've broken. Can you see it's got a nick out of it? And then this is a new mat, so I'm just going to turn the mat over and just let the paper kind of come away from the mat rather than me tugging it. And then the same with my little birds. I think you get a little bit of air under your cardstock, and it saves you ripping your cuts. Sorry, I'm out of shot there, aren't I? Tell you, it seems like ages since I've done this. So I'm just bending the mat, and then they kind of want to pop up in a place normally, and then you can get them off easier. So there's my piece. I'll turn it around that way. There's my piece of card that I'd stamped, and it added the 0.04, and there's my little die cuts. So I'm going to pop them on one side for now, and I might do one more set, and then what we can do, we can have a look at the ignore object size So I'll stamp another 4 because I'm not actually sure how many of these I'm going to need. So we'll do another 4. And then this time we can say ignore object size, and then it might save me having to do that scrolling through and deleting. So let me see. So beautiful stamp. We keep feeding the birds. So lovely to see them. I know it's lovely, isn't it? So I'm going to put my mat back into my machine. I have to move everything again now, moving stuff from side to side. So I'm just going to put this now back on the mat, and then we'll go back to the machine, and I'll lift you up to the screen. I'm going to hit the home button and say yes, it's okay to delete those, and do it again. So we're going to go scan, direct cut, save the scanned image into the machine temporarily, and start, and just let that roll through. Oh, it's part of my desk, it's catching on. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. We'll go and bring in the red bounding box to isolate the area. Are you seeing that okay? And we'll say okay. And we'll wait for it to recognise. Okay, now let me see if I can zoom in. So on the screen, can you see that where the feet are of the bird, a small area looks a darker black than the outline of the body of the bird? So that's kind of maybe an indication that the machine is picking up more than one area. And as we know, because I've just scanned the same stamp, there was extra bits there that I had to delete. So this time what we're going to do, let me try and move this around a little bit. So what I'm going to say this time, because I think that, you know, there might be some little bits in there again that I've just had to physically delete one by one. This time I'm going to say ignore object size. And I mean, they're tiny. So 0.12 is 1/8 of an inch, isn't it? But we'll take it up just to be on the safe side. We'll, we'll take it to like 1/2 inch, because this bird is bigger than 1/2 inch in total size. So anything up to 1/2 inch should be ignored. So it does look as though some of the darkness has kind of disappeared now. So I'm going to say okay, and okay again, and let's see what happens, and we'll ask it to process. I'm still not quite sure if there's some little bits in there or not, but I'm going to do the offset again and say 0.4, and this time now, can you see where the feet would be on that kind of grounding that's in the stamp? It looks as though that extra kind of black area has disappeared now. So hopefully now when we say okay and okay and let it process, it all looks okay. But what we can do, if we go back and go to edit, and then if we use the arrows again, this time now, if there's no extra little bits within these birds, when I hit the forward or back arrow, the red box which is around this bird should just jump to the bird without going on to anything else. So you see it's jumped from there. Last time it jumped to a small section of its foot, so that was how I knew there was something there. So if I do that again, it's just jumping to the next bird. So by saying ignore object size and taking it up, So long as you ignore, as long as the size you put in on ignore object size is smaller than the smallest element of what you've scanned, if that makes sense, then it will get rid of anything that's too small. So I know now that it's got rid of all those extra little bits it was trying to pick up. So I'll say OK, just check that the offset's 0.04. Keep saying OK, let it process, and we'll say select and cut. So then I'm going to get another 4 little birds. And then when these are cut, I'm going to come into the machine and see if there's a tag of any description that I can use to put these little birds on. So let me zoom out and just tip you down a little bit so you can see the machine is cutting. Okay, so I'm going to say OK, unload the mat, come back to my desk view, and again I'm just going to flip the cutting mat over and let the card start to peel away. And this is a brand new mat. It has been used a couple of times but not many, so it's still very sticky. So again, by just turning the mat over and letting a bit of air get underneath the shape, it just helps us peel it off a very sticky mat without ripping anything. So I'm just going to put my mat out of the way for a minute. So again now, so can you see this kind of little black lines here that are in the stamp here? It's like he's grounding, do you know what I mean, or part of his branch that he would be stood on. That was what it was picking up in there, some little bits in there, and it would have tried to cut those, and we don't want it cutting tiny little bits into, you know, the design. We just want the basic outline. So that was why I was spending the time to do that. So I've got 8 there now. So what I'm going to do now is come back to the machine, come back to the screen, and let's see if we've got a tag design. So I'm going to hit the home button and say yes, it's okay to delete all the patterns. And I'm just going to measure my little bird and see how big he is. So he is 2 1/4 in width, and he is about 1.5 inches high. Okay, so I'm going to go to pattern, and I'm going to go into the basic shapes first of all and see if we've got a kind of tag shape in here already that I could possibly use. So I'm just scrolling through to see what we've got. Let's just go back, I think I've missed one. There's that one, but I'm not so sure about that. There's this one might work. So I'll put that one on. So I'm thinking, how big do I want my tag? Maybe 3.5 inches high by maybe 2 inches wide. Let's see how this looks. So I'm going to use this box here, which is to untick maintain aspect ratio, and that way I can adjust the height and the width independently. So if I take the height down to, in fact let's do 3.75 And what did I say? 2 inches wide. Hang on, wait a minute. Give me a minute. 2 inches. Yeah, 2 inches might be enough in width. So by ticking this box here, that means I can do the height and the width separately. So when I start taking the width down now, the height won't be affected. So we'll take the width down to 2 and we'll say set for now. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to add. Have a frozen. Let me flick cameras. Let me just see if I've frozen. I think I've frozen. Just give me a minute because I'm not sure how to unfreeze it. Because my battery's fully charged, so I don't know why we've frozen. So give me a minute. Let me see if I've got a charger anyway that I can plug in and see if that does anything. So I don't want to cut the camera off. So let's come back to my desk view. My desk view is okay. It's just my other view and I'm not sure why. So you are saying yes, it's frozen. Right, let me put you back on desk view and see if I can work out why I've frozen. So just give me a minute. So basically all you should be able to see is my desk. Let's try and reconnect my camera. Let's come back. So that's my desk. So let me see, is my hand coming in? Yeah, I think we might be unfrozen now. So, yes you have, yes you've frozen. Okay, so we should be back onto the ScanNCut screen. So let me, can you see the ScanNCut screen now? Maria's saying better. Okay, so hopefully we're back. Don't know why it does that. So I'm gonna plod on anyway because it's 5:45 already. So let's go to pattern. You should be able to see me doing that now. And I'm going to see if there's some frames in a different section. Or tags, I should say, in a different section that might be better than the one I've chosen, but I think the one I've chosen will probably do. That one's quite nice actually. Maybe use that one. Let's have a look at that one. So this one, what we could do if we take the, so you're still with me, aren't you? Okay, now that's fine, you're all saying better. Yeah, okay, perfect. So if we take the width down on this one, because it doesn't look like we've got the option to adjust their width and height independently, but I want my width smaller than this anyway. So if I take the width down to 2¼ then we've got 3.32. So I think I might say okay on that and set. And I think what I'll do, I'll cut one of each and see which one I think is going to work, and then I'll know whether I'm going to cut more of one shape or the other. Not sure how well you'll see that. If I zoom in, can you see I've got two different shapes? So one was in the basic shapes, the shape on the right, the kind of more traditional flag shape straight top tag, that was in the basic shapes, and the one on the left was in the kind of frames section. So I'm just going to pop my mat back in to my ScanNCut machine, which you'll not be able to see at the minute, and I'm going to get my, let me zoom out again, let me show you. So I'm zoom back out. So I'm taking my basic white thick, and I'm going to put this on my mat and then see how this looks. So just pop this into the top left hand corner of my mat. See if we can zoom out. Okay, so this is my mat loaded with my A4 piece of white card, and then I'm just going to say, I'm not going to do a background scan because I know they're both up here in the top left hand corner, so I'm just going to go cut and start and see what I get and if I like any of them or not, as the case may be. Okay, so that's given me my two shapes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to try and get these off the mat without unloading the mat. And then let's see what we've got. So let's come back to this. So this is how they were on the mat. This is the more traditional style tag, and this is the one that was in my frames. But, you know, even if you've not got this shape in your ScanNCut machine, because not all machines have the same patterns built into them, you could still make this, because this is basically this with a circle welded to the top. So you could choose the one from the basic shapes, you could add a circle that's maybe about an inch, pop it over and weld the two together, and you'd get that. Okay, so my thinking was, when I saw these bits of embossed card, I was thinking that I was going to put a bit of embossed card maybe on the tag, and then colour my bird in and put my bird on, and then maybe cut some little hearts. So I'm not sure or not whether I'm going to do that. So let me just bring my little trimmer in. And let me just cut, let's see, let's do an inch. I'm not sure how straight this card is actually, but it will have to do. And I think maybe luckily it's probably about the width of my tags. So if I use this one, I might have to trim it down. I was thinking I maybe could put my little bird on and then cut a couple of hearts, or even add some designer series paper, but I'm not sure whether I want to do that. Or now I've seen this, I quite like the look of this one. So I'm thinking maybe with my little bit go there with my little bird, and maybe cut a couple of hearts. That was what my thinking. So I kind of quite like that shape now. So Right, let's see what I might do while I've still got my piece of white card loaded in the machine. Let's go back to the machine. So it says it's finished cutting. If I bring you back to the screen, I'm going to hit the back button and I'm going to delete the tag shape that's on the right hand side. So I'm going to go to edit and hit the trash can and get rid of that shape, but keep this one. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to say object edit and I'm going to add, let me think, let's see if we can add 6 and say OK, and then let's see, where is the bit that sorts them? Okay, so OK and OK. So then I'm going to come to this icon that looks like a square with all different funny shapes in it, and I'm going to ask it to sort those shapes on my map. Now I know I've just cut something up here, so I might have to move them, but I'm going to do a background scan. So I'm going to say OK, do a background scan, and that way hopefully I should be able to pick up where I've just cut those 2 trial tags from. So I'm not moving the camera again, I'm just leaving it on the screen. So now I can see, can you see if I zoom in a little bit more? So I'm not sure how well you'll see this, but there's a line here, and that's the bottom of my A4 piece of card. And up here in this top corner is where I've just cut those 2 tags. So I'm going to move this one down here, and I'm going to move this one over here, because I think that's the edge of my piece of card. So hopefully it should cut these tags out for me now, and it will avoid where I've already cut. Okay. So let's say OK, select and cut and see what we get, and start. So you all with that? So basically, because I didn't unload the mat, I know on my piece of cardstock where the 2 test shapes were. So basically what I've done, I've said to the machine, okay, this is the tag I like, add me 6 more onto the mat, and then I did a background scan to kind of try and ascertain where the 2 shapes I've already just cut out is, so I can avoid that area, if that makes sense. So hopefully if I've done it right, we should avoid the area where I've already pre-cut. And I think we have. So let's come back to the desktop. Say OK and unload the mat. And in fact, let's just go back to the machine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back and I'm going to save these tags in case I need to cut some more, because I'll probably forget what size I made it by the time I need to come and cut some more. So while I've got them just here randomly, I'm going to save and I'm going to put them in the machine, and then that way if I do need to cut some more, I can just call them up and either add some more on or get rid of some if I don't need them all. So that's saving that into the machine, so I can say OK. So now we'll come back here and turn this mat over, and you can see when you start to bend it, they start to pop off. So I can lift these all off now without having to scrape them off the mat, because that's how I broke my spatula, trying to scrape something off a very sticky new mat. Okay, so I'll just put that mat on one side for now. And this is my waist, and you know, if I'd had more time, I probably could have got at least another tag out, maybe two, but you know, I can always come back to that if I want to. So here are my tag shapes that I've just cut out, and this is kind of what I'm thinking about doing, but I just want to add maybe some little hearts. So I'm going to go, my iPad battery's on low, so I'm going to have to make this quick, so I might not be able to finish this, but we'll plod on. So I'm going to go back to the machine. I'm going to hit the home button because I've saved that tag into the machine, and I'm going to go to pattern, into basic shapes, and try and find a heart, which I know is in here because it's just one of the generic basic shapes. And I'm thinking maybe, I don't know, 1/2 inch high. So I'm going to leave the maintain aspect ratio unticked this time, and that way by adjusting the height down, it will adjust the width accordingly. And I'm going to take it down to about 1/2 inch, or 1/2 inch exact. And let's say we'll do 8 and set them on the mat for now. So what I need now is my glitter card, and I've already got a piece here that I've cut into. So I'm going to try and get my 8 little 1/2 inch hearts from this scrap. Okay, so rather than stick this whole piece on with the cutouts and just, you know, that would just de-sticky these elements of my mat, which is unnecessary, I'm going to chop these bits off and just put this bit on my mat. So just find my mat and load it back into the machine, switch you back to the camera, zoom you out, and I'm just going to pop this piece of glittery cardstock onto this mat. And this is called Subtle Shimmer. For any of you that use Stampin' Up products, this is from the new January to June mini catalogue, and it comes in a pack of 2. You get 1 sheet of this pink and 1 sheet of I'll put it in front of this camera rather than keep switching. It's a kind of iridescent blue. It's lovely, but this pink is a really lovely bright pink. So I'm going to do a background scan on the machine and start. I'll lift you up a little bit. And then those. Oh, you're fine, Linda. Don't worry. Thank you. So these hearts now that I can see, not sure how well you'll see them. Let's see if we can change the background to a lighter background and say OK. You might be able to see it if I zoom in a bit more now. Might have to adjust the camera and zoom in a bit more. So on the screen now you should be able to see the shadow of the glitter piece of card, and here's my 8 little hearts. So I'm going to go edit I'm going to click the 3 red boxes and choose the icon on the right which selects everything and say OK, and I'm going to drag them. That didn't work. Say OK. Oh. Okay, let's group them. Which one's group? That one's group, isn't it? And my doesn't always let me move them, so let's say OK, and let's use the directional arrows and scoot them along using the arrows and down, just to get them on this piece of pink card. Sometimes I find with this machine in particular, if anything is kind of up here in the top, it's not always easy for me to select it. So they all look now as though they are all on this piece of pink. So I'm going to say OK, OK, OK. I don't need to ungroup them to cut them, or I shouldn't do. We'll soon find out. And then we're going to say start. So it should now just cut. Zoom out so you're not quite as zoomed in, and it should just cut me those little hearts. And then I think what I'll do when I've done this, I think I might kind of call this a day, because I'm looking at the battery on my iPad, which is what I use as my main switcher for switching cameras, and it's just getting lower and lower as we speak, and I've not got my charger with me, so I might have to finish these up in my own time, but you'll kind of get the gist of what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to say OK and unload the mat, come back to my desk view and just move my scissors. And again, I'm just going to bend the mat so that the waste pulls away. So you can see I was able to get them all from there with minimal waste, so I can easily use this and cut more. And then I'm just going to turn the mat over, and as I start to bend it, I'm not folding it so it creases, I'm just bending it. You'll see that they kind of start to lift. You kind of get like a bit of air. I always call it like getting a bit of air under part of your element, and then that just makes it easier for you to lift them. Like there, it's on the top off your mat. So let me just put that mat out of the way. So this is what we've got so far. So my thinking is that I'd probably layer the embossed Blushing Bride, I think, did I say it was, on here. Colour my little bird in, maybe using some Blushing Bride and maybe another colour, and pop that up on dimensionals, and then just add a couple of hearts maybe popped up. Not sure, that was kind of like my thinking, or maybe leave them like so. So let me zoom in for you to see. So that was kind of what I was maybe thinking along the lines. As I say, I've not made it, so I don't really know, but or I might just pop them like this, lay one down flat and then pop the other one up on the top, something like that. But I think it probably look different when I've got my little bird coloured in. Let's see if we've just got time to put this one together. So let's have a look, find some adhesive. So if I use some of our seal and maybe pop that on there, and then it's just overhanging ever so slightly here. So if I just take my scissors and just trim that little slither away, and then let's see, where's my piece of waste? Get my little bird. Let's see what we've got handy. So we've got petal pink, and let's do Daffodil Delight, and maybe a bit of Granny Apple, no, we don't need Granny Apple Green. Let's try Petal Pink and see how this looks. Use Daffodil Delight. Have I frozen again? Goodness sake. So let's just turn off the overhead. Put the overhead back on, see if it reconnects. So you should just be looking at the ScanNCut machine at the moment, but you should still be able to hear me. So Charlotte's saying the information about finding the extraneous parts of Scan was invaluable. Thank you yet again, Ashley. Again, be sure to take care of yourself. Got to get that said in case you have to leave suddenly. Oh, thank you. That's fine. So it's struggling finding my overhead camera again now. Do you know, technology is a wonderful thing, isn't it, when it works? It might be because the battery's low on this one as well. And yet I powered both these up before I even went live. So let's see if we can try again, see if it connects. Or I might just have to leave it here, finish these in my own time and then post a picture. See if we can swap cameras. We don't want that, we want that. So are we seeing, yeah, we're seeing my desk again now, aren't we? So what my thinking was, if I can get to finish this, I'm not sure whether I will or not. When you use alcohol blends, they bleed through the back. So just so I don't get anything on my mat, that's why I'm using this little bit of scrap. So I'm thinking I'll give him a little, what did I say this is? Light daffodil for his beak. And this isn't Blushing Bride. What did I say this was? This is Petal Pink. But, you know, I might add a little bit of a darker pink over it. So let's just see what we've got. What have we got? Magenta, no, Melon Mambo. We've got Magenta Madness. Let's see. Magenta Madness Light is one of our new colours. It might be a bit too pink. And then let's go back over it. Kind of blend it all in. Might be a bit, colour combination might not be exactly what I was looking for. I might have to use light and dark. Magenta Madness. I don't know, the Magenta Madness might be too bright, but we'll try it. So I might have to go over the whole thing in Magenta Madness. So let's do some Magenta Madness Dark on these shady bits. So he's not going to be Petal Pink after all. I mean, if this doesn't turn out, I've got others I can use. So let's see. We'll blend him in now with Magenta Madness Light. But this is what you do, isn't it? You just play and see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I've got more birds there that I can cut, that I've cut, that I can colour. And obviously, you know, when you're rushing, I'm just going over where I put the dark to kind of blend it all in. This might be too bright, but you know, we'll see. So we've got this. So let's pop this up for now anyway. If I don't like it, I can either scrap it or I can peel it off. I'll just put one dimensional on it. And then I've got my little hearts. I might do my bird in a different colour. I might have to have a think about it when I've got more time. But if we put a little pink heart there, and then trying to find my mini dimensionals, but I only appear to have little black ones to hand, but we'll go with one of them. And I'll get a little dimensional on the back of this heart, and maybe pop that one over the top like so. So it's not exactly perfect, but let's see, I might put a bit of grey. Let's try and see what we've got. Just bear with me. Put these away so I know what I'm doing. Petal pink, granny apple green. Let's find a little bit of smoky slate and just go over his feet and that grounding there. So let's zoom in. So I think it might be a bit bright, this one. So what I might do, find a colour that goes with the Blushing Bride and do my little bird in, trying to see what goes with Blushing Bride. So got this little colour swatch. These are, you can get these, anybody that uses Stampin' Up, you can get these off my website and print them off free. And if you pick a colour, so like my little embossed piece of card is Blushing Bride, so you find the Blushing Bride and it tells you what colours go with it. So I could maybe colour him in Highland Heather or Gorgeous Grape, or it's not on here as a colour, but I think Pool Party goes nice with pink. So I could maybe try and do one in Pool Party and see how that looks. So I'm not so sure whether I'm completely and utterly happy with the colour of this, but I think I'm getting there with the basic tag shape and the embossing and the hearts. It's just, you know, what I choose to do with the bird. So what I'll probably do is when I've got some time this week, I'll play around with some colours and then I'll make them up and then I'll probably post them on my blog or something like that. So you can, you know, see the finished designs. Light Highland Heather might be quite nice. Trying to see if I've got that. Let's have a look. I've got Highland Heather here, so let's use a bit of scrap before I go. This is Highland Heather. So that might be quite nice if I use the purple with the pink. Or like I say, Pool Party is a good colour. I think Pool Party goes with most things. So that's Pool Party, that kind of goes. The bird might look nicer in a pale blue. But I'll have a play. But as I say, I didn't have anything in particular to show you. But I knew I kind of wanted to make a start on making some tags. So hence that's why I've just brought you along with me. So I'm pretty much certain that this is the shape of tag I want to stick with, and probably use the embossing folder. I may or may not add a little bit of designer series paper in, I'm not sure, to try and bring in some colours, but I'll have a play with it. And as I say, I'm going to use these sparkly hearts anyway, and then I'll see what I can come up with, and post a blog post on it to show you the actual finished result. I think he's too pink here. It doesn't work for me, that. And this might be a little bit too plain, so I might add maybe a strip of designer series paper on the top and bottom of this, and see if that enables me to bring in some more colours. So I think I'm going to call it a day, because on my iPad I'm down to 11%. So I'm just going to see what we're saying. Have we got an intruder? Oh, sorry. Got an intruder at 17:43. Okay. Great session, thanks Ashley. Hope to go, so have a good week. Oh, have to go, yeah. Hi Ashley and everyone, very late joining. Hate family over for delayed Christmas. Oh, yeah, don't worry, it's fine. I've not really done anything special. I'm just trying to read the comments on my phone. Thanks Ashley, enjoyed the tutorial for the scanning info and love the bird stamp, take care. Yeah, all right, so leave it with me. I'll have a play, I'll come up with something, and then as I say, I'll maybe do a blog post sometime this week when I get some time, and see how it's all looking. So I'm going to go, because as I say, I've been stood here for over an hour now, and hopefully Charlotte's saying thanks for taking us on the creative journey. I'm not sure how creative it is at the moment though, looking at this bright pink bird. Happy card making and nice Sunday all, oh dear me, Brigitte is saying. And thanks for being here, with it being your first one, Brigitte. So I'm going to go anyway, and then I can get everything charged up that I need to get charged up, and hopefully work out exactly what I am doing with this bird, and then I'll post. So take care everybody for now, and I'm going to end the live, and hopefully I will, fingers